Hey there, carbohydrates lovers! Today we're going to talk about carbohydrates, those delicious molecules that make life worth living for. But hold on, I know what you're thinking. Carbs are bad for me if I want to lose weight, right? Wrong. Well, sort of. Let's break it down. There are three main types of carbohydrates: sugars, starches, and fiber. Sugars are the sweet little molecules that make our taste buds sing, but they can be a bit tricky. They are made up of one, two, or more sugar molecules, and they include glucose, fructose, lactose, galactose, and maltose. But don't worry, you don't need to remember all of those names, just the two that matters: glucose and fructose. Glucose is like the life of the party. It's the energy that every cell in the body needs and can use. Fructose, on the other hand, it's a different devil altogether. But we will get back to this too in a minute. Now let's talk about starches. Starches are like the nerdy kids in high school, but don't underestimate them. They might not be the most popular, they can be pretty important. They are made up of long chains of glucose molecules, and you can find them in plant-based foods like grains, beans, potatoes, bread, and more. When you eat starches, your body goes to work and breaks them down into singular glucose molecules to use for energy. Now, if you eat them as they come from the nature with the fiber, they can be a really good source of energy. And last but certainly not least, we have fiber. Fiber is like the superhero of the carb world, the good stuff that saves the day. It's a type of carbohydrate that our bodies can't digest, but that doesn't mean it's not important. In fact, it does amazing things like feeding gut bacteria, increasing satiety, reducing the absorption rate of sugars in the bloodstream, regulating our bowels, reducing cholesterol, and more. So if you want to be a superhero too, you need more fiber in your diet. Now let's get back to those pesky sugars. When we eat sugars, you're normally eating a combination of different molecules. For example, table sugar is made up 50% of glucose and 50% fructose. Lactose, on the other hand, is made up of glucose and galactose. Fruits contain as well as glucose and fructose. Here's the catch though. Your body can only use glucose as a form of energy. So all these other types of sugars like fructose and lactose, they need to be converted into glucose before your cells can use them for energy. And that's where things can go wrong. High glucose diets stimulate your pancreas to produce insulin, a hormone that helps to take that glucose out of the bloodstream and push it into the cells to be used as energy or stored as fat for later use. The more glucose you have, the higher the insulin spike. Having constantly high levels of insulin will lead to insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, weight gain, cardiovascular disease, kidney disease, and more. But fructose is even worse. Fructose can only be metabolized by the liver, or the majority of it anyway. When you consume fructose in large amounts, it can overwhelm the liver's ability to process it, leading to the production of fat in the liver. This in turn can cause non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, insulin resistance, and other metabolic problems. Additionally, fructose consumption can increase the production of triglycerides in the liver, which are then released into the bloodstream. Elevated levels of triglycerides in the blood are a big risk factor for heart disease. Fructose also stimulates fat deposition on the belly and increases the level of uric acid in the blood. Uric acid in turn can cause insulin resistance, high blood pressure, weight gain, kidney stones, and other metabolic problems. So are all carbs created equal? Definitely not. Refined carbohydrates and added sugars found in processed foods have been linked to various health issues. On the other hand, whole foods like fruits, vegetables, legumes, and whole grains provide a ton of vitamins, minerals, and fiber and are essential for good health. So don't be too quick to judge those carbs. It's all about making the right choices. So if you're trying to avoid all these metabolic problems or getting a muffin top from consuming too many carbohydrates and sugars, here are some practical tips for you to use in your daily routine. Choose whole foods. The majority of processed foods contain added sugars and very little fiber. So check the food labels before you buy, look for foods with no added sugars, and buy foods as close as possible to their natural form. Avoid drinking your calories. Sugary drinks such as soda, sport drinks, fruit juices, and energy drinks are some of the biggest contributors to added sugars in our diet. Drink apple cider vinegar before or after your carb-loaded meals. Vinegar can reduce the glycemic index and sugar content of carbohydrates by up to 40%. This can help slow down the absorption of sugars in the bloodstream. Refrigerate your starchy foods. By cooking starchy foods like rice, pasta, and potatoes and leaving them in the fridge for 12 hours, you can increase the amount of resistant starches which the body can't absorb. This means less glucose to be absorbed. If you are trying to lose weight, eat fruits that have lower amounts of fructose. Fruits such as berries, kiwis, and citrus fruits have lower amounts of fructose compared to fruits such as apples, bananas, and grapes. Choose high-fiber carbohydrates. High-fiber carbohydrates like whole grain, beans, legumes, and vegetables can help slow down the absorption of sugars in the bloodstream and provide sustained energy. Aim for at least 30 grams of fiber per day. Incorporate healthy fats into your diet. Healthy fats like those found in nuts, seeds, olive oils, and avocados can help slow down the absorption of sugars in the bloodstream and provide sustained energy throughout the day. So don't fear fat. Prioritize protein. Proteins are known to be the most satiating macronutrient, and proteins, when consumed with fats, have very little effect on your insulin, which makes them ideal if you're trying to reverse insulin resistance. When you eat carbs, you need to dress them up with proteins, fats, and fiber to avoid all this metabolic problem. Practice mindful eating. Eating slowly and savoring your food can help you tune into your body's hunger and fullness cues. This can help prevent overeating and stabilize blood sugar levels. Increase physical activity. After a carb-loaded meal, go for a brisk walk or do any form of physical activity. This way your body could utilize that glucose or fructose as energy before it is converted into fat or cause any other problems mentioned above. So there you have it. What's the bottom line? Should you ditch carbs altogether and live off kale and air? No way, Jose. Just be smart about your carb choices. Stick to whole foods like fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, and avoid processed junk with added sugars. And if you're feeling extra fancy, add some apple cider vinegar to your meals to lower that glycemic index, and you will be the healthiest carb lover on the block. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.